All right, now, y'all. We back in here again with another one, man. Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of JVJ Network. I am your host. Let's talk with JVJ. Man, we got a good one tonight, but let me get my music going. We going Otis, man. We just gonna go Otis. Keep it simple, y'all. Keep it simple, keep it classy. You know it. But yeah, man, welcome back up in here, man. On y'all way in, make sure y'all do your boy a favor by hitting that like, subscribe, share, turn notifications on, all that in the bag of chips. We trying to grow around here. We can only do it with y'all. Tonight, man, we're gonna talk about this war that's going on over there. Y'all know the one, y'all know the big one, the one that we involved in, even though we involved in all the other ones too. But yeah, we're gonna talk about it because I've been hearing a lot of commentary over these last 12 days of it transpiring about what is the real end goal? Because, you know, our government hasn't really given us a reason. We have a lot of people speculating that Israel has a lot to do with it. And I've even had my conspiracy theories. Well, I ran across one theory, and I'm not even going to hold this guy. It sounds very believable. And I want to let y'all listen to it today and let y'all see what y'all think about it, because if this is the end goal, for what he has, it's already diabolical any other way it goes for any other idea that everybody else been having. But this one's just super diabolical. But shout out to the channel by the name of Andre Jink. I don't know how to say that last name. It's weird. Like me German or something. I don't know. Not Jink like Islamic people. But either way though, man, we about to go ahead and jump into this one. It was very interesting, so we're gonna just grind. But before we even do it, man, you know, get your cigarettes, get your weed, get whatever you need, because we jumping right in. So let's go ahead and get it, man. Let's see what Jink got for us, man. What he got for us?
So about 2 months ago, I made a video saying that Iran would be next after Venezuela. And I wish I was wrong, but on February 27th, Iran agreed to nuclear inspections. And then 1 day later, the United States bombed them.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives.
That means the U.S. is now at war with a country of 92 million people. That's what's happening right now. The question that I think we're all trying to understand is why? Because official explanation doesn't make any sense. The official explanation is, this was not a regime change war, but their regime is gone. And that the nuclear program was the threat, but we already destroyed it 8 months ago with Operation Midnight Hammer. That Iran was about to attack the US because they had the capability to make nuclear weapons, but the Senate Intelligence Committee says they saw no evidence of any threat.
There was no imminent threat to the United States of America by the Iranians.
That's why all of this is so confusing, because nothing.
They make you sit back and wonder, like, why do we still have so many super dummies? Like, this isn't making sense. This isn't making sense. This isn't making sense. But you still just keep rah with dear leader. When you don't have your fellow Americans get murked, your gas prices about to go up. The economy's already messed up. But you still gonna rah? Let them keep going, man.
Nothing makes any logical sense. And that's why I wanted to make this video. Because the truth is that all of this is very logical, because it has been planned for the last 30 years. And I'm going to show you the 4 different power players that all wanted this to happen and what their interests actually are. If we follow the money far enough, we'll come to a theory that connects all of this. And that theory has to do with something called the control grid and power over the flow of money. So with that said, let me explain who this benefits, how this affects investors, and what the heck is happening. Let's get into it. Hi.
Now, I'm ready, man. Let's go and do this shit, man. Let's find out. Because he making it seem like it's going to be deep. Let's see how deep he want to go. No diddy.
Hi, my name is Andre Jik. Hope you're doing well. Come for the finance and stay for the geopolitical rabbit holes that keep me up at night. So let's talk about why this is happening beyond the official narrative that we're told about. There are 4 major theories that explain it. There's 4 interest groups, all with credible evidence. And let me just start with the elephant in the room, which is Israel. Okay, so why do people think Israel forced the US to go to war? Evidence number 1 is a video of Marco Rubio explaining why this happened.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties and perhaps even higher those killed.
So Marco told Congress, we knew.
Oh, hold on. He better break that down, because y'all listen to what Marco said, bro. That was kind of crazy what Marco just said.
There was going to be an Israeli action. So we struck preemptively. He's saying Israel was going to do this no matter what. And once Israel hit Iran, Iran was going to retaliate against the U.S. by attacking U.S. military bases. And because Israel made this inevitable choice, the U.S. was forced into it as a preemptive action. Now, another piece of evidence is
I think that makes a lot of people, and for the people that sit out here and they've been criticizing that country over there, it makes you wonder what the hell they really got on America, because why the hell would that be your excuse? We attacked them first because Israel was going to attack them. And if Israel attacked them, then Iran would attack the U.S. military bases. So we attacked them first. So they ain't attack you and do nothing to you. Okay. They ain't attack them and do nothing to them. But because your buddies was going to do some fucked up shit, you jumped in ahead of them. Okay.
Incredible interview with a former CIA officer, John Kiriakou. I'll leave a link down below to the podcast, but John claims that Israel essentially gave the U.S. an ultimatum. His words, Israel said to the U.S., bomb Iran's nuclear facilities or we will use our own weapons to do it.
The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran was that the Israelis said for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And they had never threatened that before. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
That's the whole reason behind Operation Midnight Hammer.
And see, I don't know if I want to agree with that or not, because in some scenarios, some people would be like, oh, Donald Trump's so smart and so malevolent or whatever the hell. He's trying to stop other shit from happening, so he's going to start fucking shit up just to prevent some shit from... Dude, check Israel if that's his case. Like, it's very simple. Check Israel. But you can't, King.
Initial strikes against Iran, which was to prevent World War III or an all-out nuclear war from starting. Right? Now, Israel has never officially acknowledged having nuclear weapons, but a lot of experts believe they do, even though they've never said it. So if John Kiriakou's source is accurate, Israel threatened to use weapons it has never admitted to having, which forced the United States into a war to prevent a potentially much bigger one involving nuclear weapons from starting. That's a huge claim. It hasn't been independently verified, but it does have a lot of credible evidence. Now, even if we discount him and we don't believe him, the third piece of evidence comes from the source, from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has been pushing for an attack and a regime change in Iran since the mid-1990s.
Yeah, we got commercials tonight, man. Y'all don't mind them. We ain't paying for that YouTube premium right now.
The deadline for attaining this goal.
Now, I want y'all to see this shit. I want y'all to count the timeline of this, because I watched a little bit of this, and I caught this. Look at the first year, and then watch how long this man been saying the exact same damn thing about these folks. Been saying the same damn thing. Trump just a dummy to actually listen to him.
The deadline for attaining this goal
96
is getting extremely close. And Iran, by the way, is also outpacing Iraq in the development of ballistic missile systems that they hope will reach the eastern seaboard of the United States within 15 years. By next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks. The foremost sponsor of global terrorism
y'all know
could be weeks away
right now
from having enough enriched uranium for an entire arsenal of nuclear weapons. That would place a militant Islamic terror regime weeks away from having the fissile material for an entire arsenal of nuclear bombs.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months, less than a year.
This nigga been saying this shit for literally the last couple decades, y'all. And these folks still sit around here and be like, yeah, we got to protect this country. Man, obviously they lying, bro. He been lying for years, and now we over here caught up in this bullshit, all because they got some war they want to have with these Islamic countries over there. And Iran is the biggest one. Y'all can't beat them up like that. That's crazy, man. And now we stuck in it. Congratulations to MAGA, y'all. Y'all did a good job voting for that motherfucker.
If you've been paying attention at all, this has been the project for 30 years. This was the goal, and it happened. So that's power player number one. Israel wanted Iran's regime gone, and they got it with American firepower, American service members, and American money. And in the grand context of power, who does this benefit? It benefits the military-industrial complex, which some people call the neocons. Right, that's power player number one. The second theory is even more interesting. But before we continue, this video is brought to you by Tello Mobile. If you've been paying $50, $60, or $80, and now let's get back to it. Now let's talk about the second theory, which says the reason why all of this is happening has all to do with China. Because the number one goal of the United States right now is to destabilize the rise of China's economy. How do we know this? We know this because this was documented in the Monroe Doctrine, like the Monroe Doctrine, but Donald Trump's version. The way to disrupt China's economy and get leverage is, for example, cutting China off the cheap oil they were getting from Venezuela and the cheap silver they were getting from Latin America, and now the cheap oil they were getting from Iran. This is where something called the Strait of Hormuz comes in. There's this body of water between Iran and the Arabian Peninsula called the Strait of Hormuz. It's very narrow, but about a quarter of the world's supply of oil passes through this tiny little point. And as of right now, it's shut down. Traffic has dropped 70%. There's over 150 ships just sitting there waiting. And insurance companies have suspended their coverage, which is basically a financial kill switch. Because if you can't get insurance, they can't ship their oil to places like China. So as a result, oil has gone up in price. And analysts are saying if this close lasts more than a couple weeks, we could see $100 or higher for a barrel of oil. Gas prices at the pump are also projected to
he a little bit behind on the days on this. He actually filmed this a little while ago. But oil had already hit 120 last week. It hit 120 last week. And then Trump said what he said and it dropped back down some. And then went completely saying the opposite of what he just said. But, you know, either way, though, it hit 120. It hit a high of 120. And that's not good for us, y'all. The higher it goes up, the more it's going to cost you at the pump. And people are already feeling it right now in America.
Go up 10 to 30 cents a gallon in the short term. That's the optimistic scenario. Now, hold on. How does this benefit the U.S.? This benefits the U.S. because this hurts Iran. What hurts Iran hurts China, because China buys a lot of Iranian oil. So from a sovereign powers perspective, right? So from the perspective of the United States, this is a strategic win because it makes China more dependent on US oil. And if the US can control the supplies of oil around the world, that is leverage. Now, obviously, US oil companies will also benefit. ExxonMobil, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, their costs will stay the same, but the price of what they're selling is going up. Every dollar increase in crude oil translates to higher profit margins for them, aka those companies make more money. But this also benefits the dollar because oil is still priced in dollars. So when oil prices go up, global demand for dollars goes up with it. And we can even see that in the data when we look at the Dixie Index, which measures the strength of the dollar relative to other currencies. That is getting stronger. Some people argue this is a way of saving the global hegemon that is the dollar system. Now, if this theory sounds crazy to you, believe it or not, this was predicted on video by a Russian politician as early as 2013.
Here we go. Oh, got another commercial. Y'all don't mind these commercials. We're going to have them all night. All night tonight.
So what's their plan? They still need to occupy 7 more Arab countries, crush Syria, and destroy Iran with a military strike. America needs to weaken China. If Iran is struck, oil prices will soar to $200 per barrel. The Chinese economy won't be able to withstand that. And the European Union won't withstand it either. So, by striking Iran, America weakens both the EU and China.
So higher oil prices and flow controls benefits the dollar, the US corporations, and hurts adversaries like China and the European Union. And that
Now we're gonna stop right there real quick, like. And not one time in this shit did it say anything about benefiting the citizens of America. And that's why when a lot of I've had this conversation with other Americans about this, and they was like, well, it's hurting them, so that benefits us. How? The corporation's gonna make some money in this grand long scheme backdoor war that we're in, this Cold War that we're in with these motherfuckers in China and shit. You're gonna be paying a higher price for everything, and I guess we got a little bit, I guess we weakened them a little bit, so that's good for you. Bro, that's not on my bingo cards right there to be on that type of time. I thought we were talking about this man making America great, like making it better for everybody that's living inside this country, not trying to stiff up the country just to bully other people at our expense. Because that's even if the shit works. Think about it. If they start all this bullshit, they could throw the entire economy of the world off. And that's what's at risk right now with what's going on in Iran. You could throw the whole economy out of whack. It's already fucked up right now. All in hopes that maybe this might be possible. These are the smartest people in the world. They're not looking out for you, bro. They're looking out for, you seen who it was, Exxon and all them other motherfuckers. They're looking out for them. They ain't looking out for you. This shit crazy. We had so many people that voted for this shit, bro. And the sad part for y'all that say y'all didn't know, we told you though. We told you ahead of time.
That was planned a long time ago. So that is the second theory. The third theory is that this is all to benefit the financial industrial complex, which are the real powers behind the people who got the president elected. So who am I talking about specifically? This is the big money donors. This is a list of Trump's top 20 donors.
Look at this shit right here. Timothy Mellon, don't know what the hell what company he run, but he gave up 150 million like it wasn't nothing. Elon Musk, 118.6 million. Miriam Adelson, oh, we know she's from the Adelson family, okay, 105.8 million. I don't know how to say that nigga name. Richard, 84 million. All these people that claim they like all this money, I see why they don't believe the economy is messed up when you giving away 150. Look, you going all the way from $5.4 million giving it away to 150 million, just giving it away on campaigns. Look at all this money. And you wonder why y'all ass can't get nothing? You wonder why you can't get shit? A lot of these are individuals. Like that Building America's Future, yeah, that looks like a company or a shell company. Ray Services, yeah, I see that. But look at majority of these other people are just random people. These are people. 635 million out of 20 donors. And you wonder why you can't get no money in your pocket. You wonder why the economy because it's consolidated at the top. And guess what? This shit is to benefit this consolidation no matter what. At the end of the day, they gonna benefit it. They gonna benefit. People make money during war, especially if you got the means to benefit off of this shit. You gonna benefit off of it. People make money during war. If y'all don't know that, I'm glad you might be surprised if you just learned something today. But these rich ass motherfuckers about to make some bread, and your ass about to get poor. When people gonna stand up and say they ain't cool with it? But either way, though, I'm letting them keep going.
$635 million in total. Dang. Look at this as a map of every interest we just talked about. For example, number 1, Timothy Mellon, old banking and transportation dynasty, financial industrial complex. Number 2, Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, XAI. His companies hold billions and billions in Pentagon contracts, and his AI company just entered a program to build autonomous drone swarms for the military. That's the technological industrial complex and the military industrial complex in one person. There's number 3, Miriam Adelson. She has spent decades as the single biggest pro-Israel donor in American politics. She's been pushing for a regime change in Iran. That's $105 million towards the policy we just watched happen, right? Number 7, Ike Perlmutter, former chairman of Marvel, served on Trump's informal defense advisory council. It's number 9, Robert Bigelow, Bigelow Aerospace, Defense and Space, right? These are military industrial complex adjacent donors. It's number 10, Kelsey Warren, runs Energy Transfer Partners, one of the biggest oil and gas pipeline companies in the country. higher oil prices from a Hormuz shutdown go straight to his bottom line. That's the oil interest, right? Number 15, Howard Lutnick, indirect ties to Cantor Fitzgerald, has huge interests in Tether and whose company allegedly bet against the tariff policy while advising the president on the same policies, right? He's now the Commerce Secretary. So number 16, Paul Singer, runs one of the most powerful hedge funds on earth. His fund's most recent public filings show hundreds of millions of dollars in defense and energy index funds, which all went up the moment the strikes started. So here we have tech, defense, right? Oil, finance, Israel, every interest group that is represented here. This is their return on investment, and this is only what we know publicly. Now, some people also believe this has all been prearranged, right? Like the deal was made a while ago, and what we're watching on TV and social media is all just theater. Now, if you assume for a moment that this is true, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, I don't know. But if it's true, then why bomb a whole country? If this was pre-negotiated, why just not do it peacefully? And the answer from the military-industrial complex perspective is that this operation was a live product demonstration. What does that mean? It means every weapon system just got used, right? B-2 bombers, Tomahawk cruise missiles, F-22s, F-35s. This has all been shown on every news network and social media in the world. You could not buy this kind of advertising. Every country watching this is now thinking about what they need to buy, either to do what America just did or to defend against it. That is worth hundreds of billions of dollars in future sales and billions more in stock appreciation.
AKA just a whole bunch of free advertisement. Don't get your money one. Look, if they thinking like this, and I wouldn't be surprised if some sick sons of bitches thinking like this, for the love of money, they ain't playing. For humanity and morals, like, bro, it's some sick ass shit.
As we know, war is good for business. So that's theory and power player number 3. Now, if you made it this far, congratulations, because this is the 4th theory, and it is by far the most interesting one. It's going to tie all of this together. This theory says the reason why all of this is happening is because of the technological industrial complex's digital control grid. So let me tell you something crazy that just happened. The US military used an AI called Claude, made by a company called Anthropic. It was used to help plan these strikes for target identification, battle simulations, and intelligence analysis.
Sources tell CBS News the U.S. military used Claude for its attack on Iran over the weekend. Now, the Pentagon's ongoing use of Anthropic's AI model comes despite a falling out with the company over its refusal to grant the military unrestricted access to the technology.
Which means...
And I want y'all to understand this. This is probably why that school got fucking bombed. That school that killed over 170 people now, we know that little girls' school. You know, the party of we want to keep boys out of girls' sports just bombed a school full of girls. They probably used that AI software. And obviously it was wrong. But either way, though.
Means we are now living in a time when AI helps plan a war. Like, just sit with that for a second. That is crazy. Here's where it gets crazier. Just hours after the strikes, Trump signed an executive order banning federal agencies from using Anthropic's technology. Why was it banned? It was banned because the CEO of Anthropic, Dario Amodei, publicly said no to the government. He said no to fully autonomous weapons and mass domestic surveillance. The US responded by saying, all right, you are now a supply chain risk to national security. That's a label normally reserved for foreign companies, but this has never been used against a US company before. And on the exact same day, OpenAI, which is Anthropic's biggest competitor, signed a deal with the Pentagon.
Now, hours after the Trump administration ditched Anthropic over the dispute, OpenAI swooped in and struck its own deal with the Pentagon.
So the message to every...
And this is the party of small government, y'all. Small government. So you got a company that don't want to give you full access to just do whatever the hell you want. Kind of because you know, we had that issue with who was it? Spygate? They spying on all American citizens out here, and people having to leave the country, people changing genders and shit, hide from the government because they told the American citizens, that they were spying on them. And now that the American company is literally blacklisting a company that has been providing services to them, all because they don't want to give them full access to do that crazy shit that the programs and the software that they have can do against American citizens and other people. Daddy government, they say they want small government. I don't know if that's small government right there. I don't know if that's small government right there. Some people might agree with it. America's got a job. What they're trying to do. Even if it violates the Constitution. Because that's what I would have to ask a lot of these people. And the sad part, they would say, yeah, even if it violates the Constitution. Because we got some real hardliners in this country. But nah, bro, that's crazy. But they all for small government, right? That shit look really big to me.
The AI company in the world right now is that if you say yes to the military and yes to the US government, you will get the contract. But if you say no, you will be treated like a foreign enemy. Hold on, it gets way crazier. When Iran retaliated, guess what they attacked? One of their targets was Amazon Web Services data centers in the UAE and Bahrain, not military bases. Iran attacked the cloud computing infrastructure.
AWS has confirmed objects struck the site. Sparks, fire. The UAE Fire Department cut the power to the entire building.
That is the first time in history that commercial data centers have been physically targeted. By the way, those are the servers.
And it's mainly because, and everybody remember that Amazon was down. It's strategic. That's why I'm like, when I had these conversations with people about winning this war, the United States winning this war, I don't even think a lot of people understand what it would look like if America won this war with Iran. It's not what you probably think. But these people are not stupid. They're not dumb. Like, we talk about their country and how they have a dictatorship. We got one practicing right now. He auditioning to be the next fucking dictator. So what you talking about them for? But I'm like, these people are not dumb. They're advanced to way more than what Americans think. Because Americans don't think nobody else in the world has technology. Like, just let y'all step into fucking China or Japan in one of their major cities. Your mind will be blown. You can get your whole dinner out of a fucking vending machine, and that shit be hitting. Like, you just don't know. Like, Americans don't think anybody else around the world has any technology or is smart in anything. We think we're the smartest, the toughest, the strongest. Bro, you'll be surprised. They're being strategic right here. They have intel. Oh, y'all, we know that y'all use these people for y'all military. We know y'all got contracts with Amazon and these people. Oh, you want to attack us like this out of the blue? And they did it while they were negotiating, y'all. Just remember that. They were negotiating with Iran, and then the U.S. attacked them. So it's like, hey, man, I hope we can just work this out. And that motherfucker just fire off on your ass. Thought we was making up, but now you just wanted to get a good cheap shot in to keep it going. It's like, okay. They know who y'all deal with. Attack that shit. And America is just about the money, man. It's the Ponzi scheme, all the money. So attack their money, man. Attack them where it hurts. That's why they doing what they're doing right now with the oil. Hit them where it hurts. It's not going to be a straight up fight, bro. They ain't going to fight you like that. I'm trying to tell people Iran is not fighting America like that. Like, what it looks like for America to win is like for them niggas to give the fuck up. Like, that's what they need. But the sad part, they can tough this shit the fuck out. They can tough it out, bro.
That run huge parts of the internet, like, banking data and host businesses. And these are now military targets. People are calling this the beginning of techno-feudal wars, where the military uses AI to plan the attack and the enemy retaliates by bombing the servers. Which means our digital and physical worlds are now colliding. So what happens next? Well, this needs to be a separate video, but I want to give credit to Catherine Austin Fitts. Who is that? She was the Assistant Secretary of Housing under George H.W. Bush. She managed hundreds of billions of dollars in government money. She ran a Wall Street investment bank, and she has a theory that connects all of these wars into one grand theory. This is something I've talked about in my last few videos, so I hope you've been subscribed, but here's the theory. She says what's being built right now is a global financial control grid. It has three parts to it. The first part is programmable money, aka money with rules. Money that knows where it can be spent, when it expires, who's spending it, and can be shut off remotely. The second part is the control grid, right? The digital identity system that is linked to that money. Digital IDs, right? Most likely using biometric data like fingerprints, retinal scans, things like that. And the third part is the physical infrastructure, things like data centers, cameras, satellites, fiber optic networks. Hold on, how does this all fit into Iran? Well, here's a fun fact. Iran's central bank is not part of the Western financial system. It sits outside this control grid. And Iran's oil going to China in non-dollar currencies is not good for that system because it's not controlled by the Western financial infrastructure. Iran is the last piece of this puzzle because it's what puts pressure and challenges the ultimate adversary in this tech race, which is China. How do we know this? We know this because in 2007, the former NATO Supreme Commander, General Wesley Clark, shortly after 9/11, was shown a memo at the Pentagon listing 7 countries to be taken down in 5 years.
This part right here is funny because if you look at how America has operated over the last few years, the last couple of decades, it kind of shows that they're kind of on a path. Like they're kind of doing something. It might not be exactly this, y'all, but they kind of checking shit off. Just saying. It might not be exactly that, but they checking shit off when it comes to that plan. I want y'all to hear this shit. This shit's funny.
That list included Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Somalia, Sudan, and Iran. We have now been involved in all of them. Iran was the last one on that list.
We got a good military and we can take down governments. And he said, I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail. So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, are we still going to war with Iraq? And he said, oh, it's worse than that. He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, this is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
Okay, so then the question is, when does this control grid take effect? What now? Nobody knows, but there might be more regional wars and special operations. For example, Taiwan is of very specific interest, but that's another video for another time. Right now.
Oh yeah, we want that. We want control over Taiwan. Like I don't think we want to physically go in there and take control of them, but we want to make sure that China doesn't get control of them because they make all the goddamn fucking semiconductors. They chip nation around there, like, bruh. TSMC, I got some stock with them hoes. I ain't gonna never trade that shit. I'm just sitting on that shit, man. I'll be probably 7 years old still sitting on that shit. See what it's talking about. But either way, though, let's keep going, though.
There is bills in Congress that will make this possible. Like,
are you right about that? Yeah, we really are right now.
The Genius Act, which creates a legal framework for stablecoins, and the Clarity Act, which creates a framework for tokenizing financial assets. Catherine Fitz argues these are the legal building blocks for programmable money. You don't need a government-issued central bank digital currency if private stablecoins will do the exact same thing. And this is exactly what Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, the biggest asset manager on the planet, has been saying for years, even at the most recent World Economic Forum.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger.
He wants to tokenize every financial asset in the world as fast as possible, which means in the very near future, we're going to see corporations issuing their own programmable money. And if you remember, this is exactly what Russia accused the US of preparing to do, where allegedly the US will dump the entire debt burden on the rest of the world.
Со временем, когда часть госдолга США будет размещена в стейблкоинах, США обесценит этот долг. Еще раз простыми словами. У них сейчас валютный 35-триллионный долг. Они его загоняют в крипту, в облако, обесценивают и начинают с нуля.
The US will not be paying anything back. It will just redistribute the debt throughout the world using these stablecoins and CBDCs by giving the powers of the banking system to the corporations. right? This is the legacy of the dollar. I don't think the dollar is going to go away quietly. That's its last frontier. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your.
I'm saying, y'all really think about how crazy that could be. And that's why I say that it'll be very diabolical if that's the case. If that final one was the actual end goal or what they're shooting for. Because we're already dealing with the bullshit that goes on with all these other countries and shit right now, because we supposedly we put a person in office that ran on a campaign that said he was going to look out for the average day American, even though he didn't do it in his first term, not one fucking time. But he was going to come in here and he was going to focus on America, get the economy right, and all that woo stuff. And ever since he's been in, y'all, all it seems like we've been doing is trying to kick people out of the country like crazy, shooting people in the street, running to other countries and stealing their presidents. And now we're over here bombing other countries while still threatening that we want to come and take other people's countries and other countries, putting them on standby that we coming to y'all next type shit. If this is all that if they're willing to do all this for that ultimate goal, y'all, people might want to actually stand up and open their motherfucking mouth about some shit and really think really hard and look really, really hard about who the fuck you putting into this office. Because at the end of the day, we can keep here sitting saying that these rich trillionaire, billionaire companies, whatever the hell, these billionaires, these millionaires are influencing it with the money. As long as they ain't got nobody to give it to, it ain't gonna be no problem. And the people that actually get in there write the laws. They vote on the laws. At the end of the day, they got it operating underneath the law to a certain extent. They're doing it in a grimy, corrupt way, but they're operating underneath the law, and it's all legal for them to do. Change the fucking law. Like on some real ass shit, change the law, unless you just want to have Viva Revolution. Because I know some people be on that type of time. I ain't gonna hold you, look, dude. If we can't, the United States ain't as strong as we think it really is, but it's strong. It's strong enough to fuck us up if we decide we want to do some froggy shit. You better be unified. Like 80% of the motherfucking country better be unified on that type of time if we gonna do that shit. Because otherwise, bro, it's gonna be it ain't gonna work for you, bro. I don't think it's gonna work. But look, I got one more for you, man, because we got a retired colonel, man, that was speaking on this shit, man. And this happened the other day. What he spoke about when it came to that dude had a theory where he said that the main reason that Trump really kind of jumped into it because the Israelis threatened that they would nuke him. Well, this is a colonel that actually heard that same shit too. And I'm gonna let him say what he wants to say. Shout out to Democracy Now! Because so I've been watching a little bit of them, man. Because a lot of these other stations ain't been trying to cover what the fuck's really been going on over there. Like, especially like national media, like Fox News, they were so stupid. They was talking about how everything was going so good and the United States was doing this and that, but they had a video behind them showing them fucking bases getting bombed. I was like, I don't know if that's a good optic right there for you, but either way though, man, we going to Democracy Now! This is gonna be the last one for the night, man. Let's see what they talking about over here, man.
The U.S.-Israeli war on Iran has entered its 11th day. Its impact is being increasingly felt across the globe. Al Jazeera is reporting residents of Tehran overnight experienced some of the most intense bombardment of the war. At least 40 people were reportedly killed near the city's Risalat Square in Lebanon. The death toll from Israel's attacks are nearing 500. About 700,000 residents have been displaced. Earlier today, Iran reportedly fired drones towards Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and United Arab Emirates, where a large fire broke out in an industrial area home to petrochemical plants. A suspected Iranian missile also hit a residential building in the capital of Bahrain, killing one person and injuring 8 others. On Monday, the Pentagon posted online a photo of a missile with the words "No Mercy" superimposed on it. An accompanying message read, "We have only just begun to fight." But soon after, Trump told CBS News, quote, "I think the war is very complete." Pretty much, he said. Trump's CBS interview led oil prices to drop and for global stocks to quickly rise. But after the Wall Street markets closed, Trump told Republicans in Florida the U.S. hasn't, quote, won enough.
Think about how crazy it is. And I told you, that's why that motherfucker be on that dirty ass shit. So he tricked all them people that were investing in the stock market. He was like, yeah, we're pretty much done. They was like, okay, thank God. We can get that price down. He was over there sweating and shit. Goddamn, we're losing all our money right now. Sweating shit. So, okay, we're back into it. We can get back to it. And then not even a couple hours later, that motherfucker say the complete opposite. Be like, nigga, why y'all even listen to this motherfucker, bro? He got y'all dummies to get the price down.
News conference on Monday night. ABC News reporter Selena Wang questioned Trump about the conflicting messages.
Mr. President, you've said the war is, quote, very complete, but your defense secretary says this is just the beginning. So which is it, and how long should Americans be prepared?
Well, I think you could say it both. The beginning, it's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment. It's all been blown up. They have no radar, they have no telecommunications, and they have no leadership. It's all gone. So, you could look at that statement. We could.
If that's the case, why ain't you still flying them fighter jets over that motherfucker there, nigga? Because they already shot down 3 of them hoes. Why ain't you still flying them fighter jets over there if they ain't got the capability of it? Why you standing back and shooting from range? Interesting.
We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here. I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further. But the big risk on that war has been over for 3 days. We wiped them out in the first 2 days.
On Monday, President Trump said he had a good call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, who reportedly proposed a, quote, quick political and diplomatic end to the Iranian conflict, unquote. We begin today's show with retired Army Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, who served as Chief of Staff to Secretary of State Colin Powell during the run-up and early years of the U.S. war on Iraq. He's taught national security affairs at both George Washington University and the College of William and Mary. Colonel Wilkerson, welcome back to Democracy Now! Can you respond to what has taken place over this last 11 days, starting with the diplomatic talks in Geneva between Iran and the United States? And as those talks were just wrapping up, U.S. and Israel attacked Iran and killed the supreme leader there. Your response?
Yes, and Amy, for the second time, we violated international law in that respect and just common human decency. And your comments at the opening of the show were spot on, but not nearly broad and deep enough. I come from an administration of George W. Bush and Richard Bruce Cheney that committed war crimes that Colin Powell and his lawyer Will Taft and I agonized over in trying to present some message to the American people about them. This administration has committed more war crimes in the last few days than I think any country since Adolf Hitler committed. And that is an incredible condemnation of this entire process. We have bombed civilians relentlessly. We have bombed a school. We have bombed a hospital. We have struck facilities in the nature of Iran's oil capacity that is now putting black poison all over 10+ million people. And we are essentially not bombing ballistic missile sites and bombing war materiel. We're bombing people. We took a lesson from the IDF, if you will. We are bombing people, as incidentally they are still doing in Gaza and doing now in Lebanon to a fare thee well. These are all war crimes, and one wishes.
It's crazy because, I'll sit around and have these conversations with fellow Americans, and a lot of them don't know jack shit about how the military works and what this country's done. They don't know the history of it, so seem like they're highly surprised every time you tell them that they do fucked up shit. There's a reason why they don't like us around the world. There's a reason why. We violate so many goddamn laws that don't make no sense. And the sad part, we were the ones who helped facilitate even putting these laws in place so people wouldn't do that fucked up shit to us. But we these are rules for y'all motherfuckers to abide by. If we feel like we need to do something as a country, we gonna violate these hoes. But we gonna condemn you if you do them though. That's the type of time America be on around the world. And this dude served in the military too. So I'm like, y'all can talk shit about that motherfucker too. I respect what he's saying because sometimes you need to just call it out for what it is, bro. We committing war crimes like crazy over there. But they talk about a fucking illegal in this country. Stealing some chips out of goddamn 7-Eleven or something. Like that's the end of the world. But this is perfectly fine though.
With fond hope that someday we might be called before the bar of justice and have to account for these war crimes. And what you just talked about is a crime also in the eyes of international relations and people who want to keep decent international relations ongoing in the world. We're destroying that. And on top of all of that, and this is the real serious problem here for America, Trump and Hegseth and Rubio and the other entourage of their national security complex have completely misjudged the nature of this war, as has to a certain extent Bibi Netanyahu. This is a country as big as Western Europe with 93 million people, probably 90 million of whom will fight us to the bitter death, who live in terrain that almost killed Alexander the Great. It is entirely inhospitable to military operations, and Trump is actually talking about putting ground forces there. And the only way he will be able to claim any nature of victory is to do that. Only that will be the end of the empire's presence in the Levant and the Middle East in general, because we will not be able to sustain that economically, physically. We do not have the soldiers or Marines to do that. But that's what he's talking about. This is pure nonsense. There was a column in Haaretz yesterday, and the title of the column essentially was Trump will chicken out in this war too. I'm sorry, he's not going to chicken out necessarily. That might be the tone intent he puts to it. He's going to be defeated, as are we.
Colonel, I wanted to ask you, we played that clip with Trump talking about all the damage that Iran has sustained, but there's been very little acknowledgement by the U.S. military or the White House to the enormous damage that has occurred to the U.S. military footprint in the Middle East for decades. All of these bases and a radar, multi-billion-dollar radar, were established throughout the region. And what's your understanding of the nature of the damage that has occurred to all of these bases, not just among the Gulf states, but also even in Iraq and other places of the Middle East?
Man, he about to break it down like, dude, I don't know what they thought the Iranians were going to do after they struck them. Like, I really don't know what they thought they were going to do. But we have bases surrounding them motherfuckers. They started bombing them bitches. A lot of them were well within range of the missiles they got. And the United States is talking like we done so good. They don't want to show y'all or tell y'all what's really going on. All you got to pay, you can pay attention and tell if we really doing good. They done wasted all these missiles. Like, we've been going through the stockpile to the extent that we have other bases over in Asian countries. I know we wouldn't call this Southeast Asia, but I'm talking about on the other side by Japan and China. We have a stockpile over there too. They done told that stockpile to get brought over here to help these motherfuckers. Like, we running out of shit. We can easily rebuild it because we got so much money in this country, a Ponzi scheme, but it's like, it's going to take time, and the United States might not have time. And you don't want to make yourself vulnerable fucking with a country that you shouldn't be fucking with, when another country could really come over here and fuck you up. This might be the prime time for China to go ahead and take Taiwan. That was some real ass shit. Like, let the United States tire themselves out, go through their stockpile, waste their fucking shit, go in debt, and then we just gonna go take Taiwan while they can't do nothing about it. Got it. Like, I don't know some of these motherfuckers thinking, but like, for real, listen to this shit, man.
Yeah, that damage is enormous. And I think what you're witnessing right now is the initial steps of the empire, the American empire's retreat from the Levant and the Middle East in general. I don't think we're going to be able to sustain our presence there after what's going to happen here, particularly if we stay at this for a long time and really do take significant casualties. We're already taking more casualties than people know about because the media is not being apprised of them. Yes, we had that ceremony at Dover, but there are people getting ready at Landstuhl, our throughput hospital in Germany right now, to accept multiple casualties.
Look, y'all, 7 killed, and I think over 100 and some service members already injured. I think like 8 or 7 or 9 of them, somewhere in between there, was like very critical. A lot of them done got back into the fight, but a lot of like those, that small few right there, they're in critical condition. Like, they don't know if they're gonna make it or not. So the death toll might go up even more. And supposedly we ain't even got boots on the ground. And it's literally, you have to ask yourself for what? Like, there's no immediate benefit for us. Like, we listened to the guy with the conspiracy theories in the last video, but for the average American citizen, what benefit do you see in this? But let it keep going now.
Again, they've stopped their civilian service and so forth at that hospital. And other things are being geared up too, like Walter Reed. I don't think they have even a modicum of appreciation of what kind of casualties are going to result, though, especially if we put ground forces into Iran. And that is the only way, unless he just lies completely about it, that Trump is going to be able to assert any kind of real force with regard to this population. And to your point, in Bahrain, they have taken out billions of dollars worth of U.S. radar and equipment, including the vertical missile loading cranes. So now ships have to go all the way to Diego Garcia to load these weapons. They have essentially obliterated our capacity to carry out combat actions from a number of places in Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the United Arab Emirates. Al Udeid is actually under threat now too. And this is all part of the warp and woof of our ability to carry out combat operations in the region. I'm not even sure our biggest facility for passing on troops, throughput facility that we used in both Iraq wars, is in Kuwait. I'm not even sure that that's up now and able to do anything. So how would you even get Marines or soldiers, God forbid, into Iran? That's a huge problem. They will sink the ships that are coming to deposit those troops wherever they're coming. We have not really damaged their ballistic missile capability. And the media blackout on Israel is keeping the American people from seeing the enormous degree of destruction to Israel, the latest component of which was a riposte to Israel's having.
Oh yeah, y'all know that y'all ain't really seen no strikes really hit. They bombing the fuck out that hole, bro. They drone striking the shit out of Israel right now, y'all. But they don't want you to see that shit because Israel, they gonna black it out and make sure they seem strong, innocent victims and shit, all that stuff. Bro, they fucking them up. It's like y'all started this shit, bro, and y'all still calling these people terrorists and all this other stuff. They didn't come to your country, bro. You went to theirs. That's the crazy part about it.
Struck their oil facilities on Haifa, their oil facility port. And Haifa is being taken down much the way Eilat was taken down by the Houthis, the Al-Ansar in the Red Sea, when we failed to be able to reopen the Red Sea. And that's the next step. The Bab el-Mandeb will be closed once the Houthis have gotten into action full time again. And 60% of the world's commerce passes through the Red Sea. It's not oil and gas exclusively. It's all manner of things, foodstuffs, commodities and such. So this is a war with long legs. Trump has completely misinterpreted it. The only one who's interpreted it correctly is Bibi Netanyahu, and I think he's ready to use a nuclear weapon should it become as bad as it looks like it might right now, because Iran has not even began to shoot its most sophisticated missiles. And now the second and third class of those missiles is getting through almost without opposition.
I remember when we did the video covering the fighter too, bro. They not even shooting off the fighters yet. They're not even shooting the fighters off yet. And y'all, that's the one, remember, that could swivel and dive and do all that. They ain't even been yet. They ain't even been using that. They've been using that bullshit. They've been using that bullshit. Artillery rounds out this hoe.
Imagine what these Mach 3, Mach 4 missiles with huge warheads that have maybe 100 different other warheads they display all across an area are going to do to Israel once they're fired. And they're still there and they're still ready to fire.
And Colonel, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned the media coverage of what is going on in Israel. It has been amazing to me that all of the major U.S. media are based in Israel, in Tel Aviv, yet we are seeing the least amount of coverage of what is going on within Israel. I want to quote from a piece, an online piece that...
Yeah, make that make sense. All the major news networks in America is over there in Israel, but they ain't reporting nothing that you can see in Israel. Interesting, ain't it? You can't see none of the attacks and nothing like that. They want you to make it seem like ain't nothing going on over there. But they all over there, though. Interesting.
CNN reporter Oren Lieberman posted earlier this week. And he wrote, and I'm quoting, "Every reporter in Israel and every member of the public is subject to a military censor. On national security grounds, the regulation authorizes the censor to prohibit reporting or broadcasting any material that would reveal sensitive information or pose a threat to the country's security interest." And he goes on to say this is particularly sensitive during wartime when where the military censor has made clear that broadcasting any images that reveal the location of interceptor missiles or military sites hit by enemy projectiles is forbidden, especially in live broadcasts. Now, they say this on their website, but they never mention this on air. And none of the networks are mentioning on air that they are strictly prohibited from showing any actual real damage. I'm wondering your sense of what the responsibility of the U.S. media, especially since they're always showing us
the fuck out of there. That's what I take it the fuck out of there.
Rising in Abu Dhabi or in
Saudi
Arabia or even in Iran, but not the direct hits that are occurring within Israel.
I'll tell you what I told the senior editor to the Washington Post recently. I think it's abominable, the lies that the American mainstream media, both video and print, is telling the American people. And they're putting us in jeopardy in a real substantive sense because the American people have no way of judging just how foolhardy, how stupid, how unwise, how violative of international dictum and rule this war is. And when it gets to the point, I think this is the end of the Trump presidency, actually, because when it gets to the point where the pressure is so great and some of this has to come out and casualties are manifest, then the American people are going to ask really important questions. Why did you lie to us? Why did you tell us what you were telling us? Why did you start this war of choice? Iran was no
I got it. I got the answer for him. For the people that ask that question, he going to turn around and tell you, because you're fucking stupid. That's why. Yep.
Threat to the United States of America whatsoever. Did you go to war for Israel? We have heard you went to war for Israel. These are questions that are finally going to get out there in the hustings and going to have to be answered by someone, probably your local congressman, the supine body that has done nothing to check this president, particularly in the war power. And we haven't even talked about that. This is a complete violation of the Constitution of the United States. Just as Kofi Annan said about the 2003 Iraq war, it's an illegal war. And he went on to say it was a violation of our own Constitution. And he was absolutely right. But this pales, or that pales, in comparison with what Trump is doing right now and what he is going to probably have to do in order to seem to correct his errors. And I'm truly worried that this destruction of Israel is going to reach a point. I listened to Netanyahu recently speaking in Hebrew to his clan, to his group, Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, and others like that. And at the end of his remarks in Hebrew, which was translated for me very reliably, I think, he essentially said that if it went south, if it went bad, he was prepared to show the Iranians something they had never seen before. I think he meant a nuclear weapon. And I go back to 1973 when Golda Meir told a BBC reporter, you can check, it was printed in London the next day on the front page, that she would use a nuclear weapon in response to his question, would you use a nuclear weapon? Because at that time they were pretty hard pressed in the 73 war. And she said, yes, without equivocation. I think we're back at that point again, and for probably a far more dangerous situation.
I know you have to go, Colonel Wilkerson, but I just want to point out you were the former chief of staff of Secretary of State Colin Powell, who dragged his feet on supporting the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003, but ultimately gave that speech that he would call a stain on his career at the UN. It was critical for Bush, President Bush, that it was Colin Powell who gave this speech because he was seen as the reluctant warrior. And he gave that speech saying there was evidence of Saddam Hussein having weapons of mass destruction. Can you make a parallel to what we're seeing today?
I can, but I think this is far greater a travesty and a tragedy That was bad enough, and torture was the thing that broke my back, and ultimately it sort of broke Colin Powell's back too, because we realized that we had signed up not only to a war that was not necessary, we had signed up to a president of the United States for the first time in the nation's history, making public policy torture. Other human beings being tortured was made presidential public policy. This is far worse, I think, and it's been building for some time.
And y'all, that was bad, man. I forget the movie that y'all can actually go see to kind of give y'all some type of understanding of what the hell was going on over there during Afghanistan and Iraq. Man, the United States talks about how evil other people are. Bro, y'all just don't know what some of these people do in the military. And then on top of that, the special forces and the goddamn contractors that they bring in, even less control.
It's been building all since Trump was elected, and actually since his first administration. And I think it makes what we did, not to discount it, but it makes it pale by comparison. And it makes me deeply concerned about the future of this republic.
Thanks.
Well, I think we all should be. We all should be, man. Like this shit right here. At least you got an old colonel up in here, and he got blood on his hands too, because he said he was part of that administration, and he regrets not, standing up and saying more like, yeah, nigga, yeah, should have said something. I ain't gonna say we all been in that situation where we had that much power to control who was living and who was dying, but damn, yeah, you should have said something. But what's going on right now is unacceptable, man. Hopefully people get out and go vote this motherfucker out in the midterms. Like, cause the sad part, that'll be the process for anybody that wants to see this shit stop and see this motherfucking gone. You gonna have to put the Democrats in there, bro. You even got Nick Fuentes talking about he telling people to go vote Democrat. Go vote Democrats so they can get the House and they can get the Senate. They can impeach this motherfucker and they can remove him from fucking office. But you let some of the Republicans step in, I promise you, bro, you're gonna stick with the same shit. He gonna go harder, bro. Because no matter what, they can impeach him and remove him from office. That's not criminal, though. They can just get him out of office and J.D. Vance will be the fucking president. But once he gets out of office, I promise you, ain't nothing criminal happening to him for none of this shit that he's doing right now. People keep forgetting that the Supreme Court ruled a president cannot be prosecuted for anything he does while he's in office. You can't get him because all he got to do is say it was part of my duties. They can't get him. So nothing that he's doing right now. The only way to get this motherfucker gone, bro, you gotta put them Democrats in, bro. That's the path for y'all people that want to see them gone. You gotta put the Democrats in and hope the ones that you put in ain't on this same bullshit. But put them in and get them to. That need to actually be the mandate for the midterms. Impeach that motherfucker. Impeach that motherfucker and remove that motherfucker. If that ain't your mandate, if that ain't one of your top priorities coming in, you can get the fuck on, bro, because we ain't got a lot of time. We got a lot of time right here. You got to get them going. Get them going within a year. Because think about it, midterms is every 2 years. At least get them out of there before the last year. Because ain't no telling what the fuck this motherfucker gonna do. He at least got some time. He got some time right now. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Write it down below, man. I'm getting tired of even talking about this dumb shit because we got too many Americans that okay this shit, man. They were perfectly fine with this bullshit. They don't give a fuck when other people that don't look like them getting fucked up. And they don't even care if it's right or wrong. Like, they just rah with the motherfucking crowd. And as soon as something happened to them as a consequence of that action, then they want to cry like some bitches. Shut up, bitches. Shut up, bitches. But man, yeah, y'all hit that like, subscribe, share, turn notifications on, all that in the bag of tips, man. Your boy about to get out of here, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one as always, man. Peace.